Hello everyone, now I am here with my next video of static and non-static functions. We can use a modifier in front of our function in the prototype and what is the effect of using static keyword with the function, and if we are not using static then what will happen I am going to tell you in this video. See, if I am writing static in front of a function, means in prototype of a function, then see what happened. And static is a keyword when used with the function prototype as modifier, function will run automatically. It is shown in front of us so that we can click on it and the function will be executed. In the second point, when we apply a static keyword with any method, then that method is known as static method. Means when we are using static keyword with a function, then it is static function. If I'm not using static keyword with a function, then it is non-static function. See the third point. When it is applied with a function, that function is become a class function. Means that memory is fixed for only for class, not for object. It is fixed for a class. Each and every object can use that function. The memory is fixed. And see, the static always belongs to a class, never belongs to an object of a class. We can use that function, but that function belongs to a class only, not for the object. Why I am talking about class and object? If I am talking about class, means a variable is common. And if I am talking about object, we can have so many memories for different object of a particular class. For same class, we are having different object, and every object have different memory location. But a static function have only one memory location, and a non-static have different memory location according to the object. And the fourth one, see, static have restrictions that it always access static global members, that is the static global variables, and never access a non-static variable. Just remember these things. It never access a non-static variable. Static have some restrictions that it can access a static function and access a static variable. Always going to touch a static variable or a static function, never going to touch or access a non-static or function or a non-static variable. And see the next point, if class contain more than one static function, all the list comes together in front of us and we can click on any of the function, because each and every function have this functionality that it can run automatically. Every function can run automatically. And see the next one, static function can call static function directly by name it, but for calling non-static function, it needs to take permission from an object, because each non-static function belongs to object, never belongs to a class. Only it always belongs to a particular object of a class. And see the next point, static functions have a fixed memory and RAM, so they never need a class object to call them. Just remember, memory is fixed. See, with the help of example, I want to show you. In this example, I am taking few static variables. See, on the top, I had written two static variables. They are global variables, global static variable. If before declaring a function, I am writing some variable, then that variable is global variables for us. And if I am declaring a static global variable, then they are class variable for us. Global variable are valid in whole program, in whole class, where whenever, wherever we want to use, we can use it. We are having 3 static functions in front of us. One I had already written. See, the public static void except. Public static void except, basically I had created to accept the number of terms, and I want to show the number of terms in front of you. And then see, I had written public static void means string as the normal function what we are writing. The same function I had written. But see, I had created one more function inside a function. I'm calling a function inside a function. See, that one is except. Except is going to call except. I told you earlier, when we are writing, when we want to call static function from a static function, we have to just write the name. That's why I written the name. Except function bracket open close semicolon means from this line I am going to call a function that is except. And what I want to do in this function, see, in main function I am doing that I am just displaying factorial of each and every numbers, but the counting starts from 1. See, I'd already mentioned the top count equals to 1. Means I want the counting should be start from 1 till the number of terms. And both count and term both are the global variables on the top they had declared. See, in for I'd already mentioned that for function bracket open, then I'd written semicolon. I'd not mentioned the initialization part because I'd already initialized that value on the top. Just I want to show you that we can do this also. I can write this also. Without writing here, I can mention here also. And see what happened. See, count is smaller than equals to terms. Means if the value of term is 5, then our counting starts from 1 till 5. Because count counts 1 by 1. Count plus plus means increase by 1. Means 1 to 5 the loop is going to be executed. And see what I had written. System.out.println value of count is displayed with 16 spaces, and then I had written fact function bracket and I had provided count value. I am going to call this fact function from system.out.println. Just want to show you that we can write this also. See, fact is going to call fact function and going to provide the value of count to fact function. And see, all are static functions. That's why static function can call static function by writing name of the function. Same way I had written the name and I want to pass that count value to fact function, and fact is going to find factorial for us. You all know the logic of a factorial. I had written the logic of a factorial in fact. Y receives the value of count, and with the help of this function we are going to find the value of the factorial of y, and that value is going to be returned back. If I am sending value of count 5, y will receive 5 and the factorial of 5 we are getting back. Means that is 120. Means 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. Factorial of 5. And see what happened. The answer in front of you all. The number of terms is 6. And counting is 1 from started from 1 till 6. And the factorials you are having in front. See, I told you earlier, when we are going to execute our main function, because this is these all are static function. When you are going to run this function, one menu occurs. First one is a temporary object, new static function named with the constructor. You are having temporary object first of all. When you are going to run this class, and then one by one name of static functions comes, except in main, fact, all these functions display one by one. You have to click on main function, because when we are going to click on main function, main will be executed, and with the help of main, see, every function is going to be executed. That's why separately we are not supposed to click on them. We can access main function, and main function can access both the function one by one. Then we are getting this output because I am accessing main function directly. And see what happened when we are creating a non-static function. See the first point. When a prototype not contains static keyword, I told you earlier, that is non-static function. Non-static function never runs automatically. It requires object creation. Just remember, static functions run automatically. Non-static never runs automatically. They require object creation, and object going to call that non-static function. And see the third one, non-static function never have any restriction. It can use any variable, either static or non-static. But static have restrictions, that static function can access static variable only. But non-static function can access static as well as non-static both. See the fourth point. Non-static can access any static or non-static global variables. If we are having a non-static function, we can use static or non-static global variables inside that non-static function. We can use. No restrictions. Non-static function never have any restriction. Just remember, static have restriction, non-static doesn't have any restriction. See the fifth point. Non-static function call non-static function by calling name of that function, because when they are of same type, static can call static by name itself, and non-static can call non-static by name itself. Both are same. Static can call static, non-static can call non-static by name only, because they are of same type. When two different things occurs, then some issues occurs. When they are having same things, then no issues occurs. And see the program. Program is in front of us. I had declared two global variables. One is array and one is integer size. Array size. Array I had already declared, but the problem is that I had just mentioned array half portion. Normally I told you how I am going to declare array. Int a square bracket is equals to new int any size. Previously I had told you in this way. But when we don't know about size, then we can ignore this part. We can declare it in two ways. When we don't know about size and we want to declare, then we can write in this way. After getting size, wherever we are getting size, then at that moment we can write a is equals to new half part. We can write here int square bracket size. We are not supposed to write here a square bracket. Square bracket means declaration. Declaration we had already declared. We are not supposed to declare it again and again. We are just showing that we are going to provide a new memory to A array. That's why it's written in half part. See here. In half part I declare because here I don't know the size of array. And we are going to accept this size of array by using accept function, which is non-static. I do not written static in front of accept function. This is non-static function. See, in this non-static function I written scanner because I am accepting value of a size from user, and I want to accept the values of arrays by user only. That's why all these things are written in accept function, which is non-static. And one more thing I had written, perfect square function, because I want to find perfect square present inside an array. Means 36 is a perfect square because 6 36. For example, 25 is perfect square. Why? Because 5 into 5 is 25. 4 is perfect square because 2 into 2 is 4. In this way, we have to find perfect square present inside array element. What I had done in this function, see, firstly I am going to call this function accept from a non-static function, because I want to show you all a non-static function can call a non-static function by just naming it. No issues, because both are of same type. Both are non-static. See, static is not mentioned here. That's why no issues. Non-static function is calling a non-static function. Or we can say it is nested function. Function inside a function is nested function. And now with the help of this logic, I am going to find whether the number is perfect square or not. How I am going to find? See, 25. If I had written AI, value of AI is 25, means leave. Value of A0 is 25. And I want to check whether this 25 is perfect square or not. What I had written here, see, I'm just trying to find it out whether math.sqrt provides me what type of value sqrt provides me. Just remember, square root provides us double value. Means square root of any number, math.square root is able to find it out. But I just want a number without decimal point. I just want, if a value is 5.53, I just don't want these values. I just want 5. Because I want to check whether 5 into 5 is 25 or not. That's why I mentioned int here. I'm just removing the decimal part and multiplying both the square root by removing decimal part and checking whether if this value is 5.23, then I am trying to remove this 23 and just checking it whether it is equals to arith location or not. If it is not matched, then it is not a perfect square. See, if it is not a perfect square, I am checking whether we are getting perfect square or not. If I am getting perfect square, then value of k is 1. If I am not getting perfect square, then value of k is 0. And now I am displaying each and every perfect square. Each and every perfect square, the heading I had already placed before the logic, and see, I am displaying each and every perfect square in front of you. And see, value of k is 1 means it's showing us that we are getting perfect square from an array. and here I am calling except, and see what happen. If k is not equals to 1, I am displaying that perfect square numbers are not found. Perfect square numbers are not found. In this way I want to display it. And one more thing I told you, if I want to call a function from a non-static function, then I have to create object of that class. That's why, see what happened. ob.perfect square is going to be called, and ob.perfect square, see, it's going to be called, and from perfect square except is going to be called, and in this way whole program executed. In C we are getting the output, we are accepting 5 elements, and we are having the perfect square, that is 36 and 25. And see, one more thing I want to tell you, that class function and the object function, I am telling you, when I am writing static, then that function is a class function, and if I am not writing static, then that function is object function. Why it is class function, why it is object function, I want to tell you in detail. See, if I created one class, that is demo class, which contain few static variables, global variables, static global variables, and I created one non-static function and one static function, and the class is over. See, it is demo class. In one more class I had created, that is demo 1. Inside the demo, I have had a static main function, and what I am trying to do, I want to access this demo class from another class. Then see, I am accessing that class by just, see, I am accessing that class just by creating object, and see what happened. The next function, I want to touch that function, which is non-static function, but I can touch that function but with the help of object. That's why it is object function. But if I want to touch a static function, then I have to mention class name in front of that function. That's why see, I had written demo.display because it is a class function. If it is object function, then I have to write object.function name. That's why I did an obj.sum. And display is a static function. That's why I had written demo.display because it is a class function. See, in the top, demo 1 arrow is present. In the top, we are having one arrow pointed towards demo. Means inside this demo we are using this demo class. Inside demo 1 I am using demo. That's why we are having one arrow pointed towards demo. I'm just trying to explain all these small things so that you can understand the role of static and a non-static thing. See, few different I had created so that you can understand all these things in a better way. See, static function always runs automatically, I told you earlier, and non-static needs object creation. The second point, static function all known as class function and non-static known as instance function means object function. Third point, static function never use non-static variable, always use static variables because static functions have some restrictions, and non-static doesn't have any restrictions, so that they can touch a static as well as non-static function both. Same as variable, non-static can touch a non-static variable as well as static variable, and static function never able to touch non-static things, it able to touch static only. Fourth point, static function can be used in another class by writing class name dot function. I told you in previous slide. And non-static function, you have to mention the object name and then function name. I told you in previous slide only. And one more thing I want to tell you, that when we are creating a static function, compile time binding is used. Compile time binding means checking that whether the function is created or not, because it is a class function. We have to check it earlier. That's why it is early binding. Non-static functions, sometimes because we have to create class object and then object is going to call that function, then it is run during runtime. That's why it is late binding. And I told you earlier that static function have fixed memory in RAM and non-static function doesn't have any fixed memory in RAM. In this way, difference also have you are having in front of you. And I want to tell you one more thing, that why in Java main is static. Why we are having a main as static function. If we are not having main as static function, JVM have to create object of that class. Then it is possible to access main function. For avoiding this, because memory allocation is needed, for avoiding this, already we are having main function as static so that we can run it directly. JVM can run it directly. We are not supposed to create any object for running that main function. A normal person can run a main function without creation of object. So the same manner JVM can run main function automatically. That's why main is static. And I tried to explain all these things. Still, if you have any doubt, then ask. Otherwise, goodbye and good luck.